and I'm being told that we are ready to go on UnMetal. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce MetalGlennSolid. Hello. With that run for you coming up now, you guys can all take it away.
Hi guys, I'm Glenn. We're going to be doing a little indie game called UnMetal from Unepic Fran, and with me on comms, and I will let you introduce yourselves. We've got Jack Lafere and Noves Novell. We're going to be playing on easy, and we're going to get started in 3, 2, 1. Let you guys go from here.
Quick introduction. My name is Jack Lafere. I'm the game creative assistant of UnMetal underneath Francisco Telesomenius. And I'm joined here by Andrew, who will also introduce himself in a unique way.
Well, I don't know about Andrew, this Novus guy, too much, but I'd go by Jesse Fox. And, well, Glenn's about to show off my story in the quickest way possible.
So I'll be talking more of the nerdy stuff, and Jesse, you can just tell your story when you need to tell your story. And Glenn, have fun. Possibly getting every world record ever today.
That's hard when Bash is here.
Level 1, Jesse, he's going to be focusing on getting to the end boss as fast as possible, skipping every cutscene and all the other things you'd expect in a speed run. However, one of the mechanics that you'll notice is that this looks very much like a Metal Gear game. Well, maybe worked on and such. It's actually a full parody story, which we get none of. Sorry, Jesse.
You know what? It's fine. We'll just, have everybody else go buy the game so that they can actually see what happens. Or hear.
Anyway, anyone who wants to give a donation to the charity today can request Jesse Fox to say something in whatever way you want. And if it needs to be adjusted respectfully, we'll do what we can. What you're seeing here is that Glenn's going to be focusing on going through these screens, not worrying about setting off alerts or stealth. And while there are some that he will actually want to not alert, you'll notice a little star going up to the top right. Stealth knockouts create an experience bar and unlocking specific abilities throughout the game. And routing that and finding opportunistic experience is part of the way that you can take a good run into a great run. Now, as he's going through and doing what he can to knock all of them out, Jesse, I had a curious moment while we have to ask.
Well, like I said, I'm speeding things up instead of telling it at the regular speed for the sake of the speedrunner. So right now is basically just to go through as quickly as possible. If you know who's coming up next, that damn grenade guy, you'll know that punching him in the face as quickly as possible is just the most satisfying thing.
But as I understand, you're going to have a hard time punching because you forgot to tell people about the ditch, right?
Well, yeah, the ditch was there, and of course, at one point, it definitely stopped me, but nothing stops Jesse Fox forever.
All right, well, we're about to the end of Chapter 1. Glenn, that was a rather, let's go through your thoughts. That was a rather happy bounce of your head. Why are you picking Sprint?
Because Sprint will let us go faster when there's no enemies that are not knocked out here on screen here. So if they're all knocked out, we're going to run about 33% faster, but it is still faster to continue rolling if there is any enemy on screen.
Got it. Jesse, and anyone else observing this, what do you think about sewer levels? Notoriously, TMNT is kind of terrifying. But what do you think about this sewer level generally?
Well, I mean, it stunk to high heaven, but at one point you do get some fresh air. Although, it's not the typical sewer level that I think of.
Oh, gotcha.
A little more to it than, well, most people will see.
And we have our second boss here, Mr. Sergeant Roscoe, and our favorite new weapon, the Globe.
Now, one of the things about this one in particular, while Grenade Guy used RNG based on how he moved around, this one's actually very deterministic. If you hit them in the specific ways, the pattern is always the same. If you hit it almost exactly to the right pixels and timings. This is where one of the big difficulties of easy versus hard start coming into play, and this is me. In easy, the amount of time it takes him to stand up to give you a chance to aim and such like that is longer. So this boss is actually faster on hard. Because of the fact that there's less of a delay between the crouching down and standing up. Hey,
You know, even I didn't know that. I just decided to hit him with a globe over and over. It was the only thing I could do.
I mean, if you can't punch them, you'll punch the others. Noticing the creature that we lovingly called a Murloc when it was being developed. These piranha hybrids. If you actually take one out, it spawns a cutscene you have to skip. And since you're skipping all of the cutscenes, it's not a huge time loss, but it's an easy way to optimize and speed up the game. Normally here, you would go all the way to the left through 7 different screens. Instead, we're doing a thing called the doggo skip, which allows you to roll specifically to get here and bypass probably a fourth to a third of the level right there.
It was actually the first major thing that was found in this game was the doggo skip. Which is super nice.
Yeah, that not only does it save you that, but the items that you would acquire make inventory management and menuing a little bit more inefficient.
Yeah.
So this is where you get to meet a character, one of the characters named Robert, and that was it. Thank you, Robert.
Yeah, we don't talk to Robert a whole lot, but he's a paparazzi.
Ooh.
Yeah, who?
Yeah.
Worst guy.
The worst guy. Now, one of the other mechanics that we haven't talked about yet is we put it in on easy that if you load a game after a checkpoint, you refresh your hit points. There's many different nuances and mechanics about this, but the bottom line is you will see Glenn saving and loading the game multiple times throughout to change from a bleeding state to a refresh state, most likely to maximum hit points. This room, depending on how you go around, the cycles could be against or for you. He had almost perfect cycles there because of what he's done. And those shredders that he is rubbing up against are instant one-shot kills, so it's pretty crazy.
Real quick, Jack, do we want cheese or do we want acorn?
Ooh,
by the way, how many rats are down there?
We're going
Team Acorn.
Team
we're
Acorn.
going Acorn today.
Team Acorn it is.
Yep.
Here we go.
There weren't any rats down there.
It's the God's honest truth.
There were squirrels.
They want me.
Oh, and for people asking in chat, all you have to do is make them say blah, 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 or something like that, and we will make Jesse say whatever you need.
So many squirrels, except for some reason, one of them's gonna pop like a balloon. There he goes. It's just the one. Poor little fellow.
This sets up into a little inventory puzzle, and at the end of the day, you get a rather new and shiny piece of equipment, which we will be using to get through all of the future parts. But one of the things about the PC versions of this game is the way that you time your punches and other activities within it. It's a technique called rhythm punching, where if you spam it on immediately, it's not as efficient as hitting it at a very specific rhythm. So you'll notice that when he's using the flame, it's not just him smashing the button, but he's shooting it at a very specific timing so that the heat that's generated will actually not overpower. If that bar hits the top, he dies. This is also another example of how Brandon and I cared about the speedrunning, where while we wanted to increase the gameplay for easy players who had difficulties with this, we actually increased the heat threshold on easy to make it easier for casual players, but also because it made it more fun for speedrunners. There's a lot of little optimizations, and I would say maybe a third of all of the patch notes actually were inspired by the speedrunning community. simply to make it a better game or simply more fun to run. So now that we're past all of the death-defying squirrels, we now have you going into the boss. Because Jesse, well, you weren't lonely, right?
Oh no, plenty of company down there.
Yeah, nah. So here's Sewer Junk. I suspect that Glenn is going to be attempting to do something of a flamethrower skip. At about 11%, at about 11%, if he's able to do the last 11% of the damage in one single cycle, he will be able to skip a dialogue that requires him to make a choice and the flamethrower to be destroyed.
Well, there is another option, but...
Oh.
Well...
All right, it looks
I'll leave
did
that
not
for the
get
players.
All right, so... nice try.
That happens. Something sewer junk spawn RNG. Not a big deal.
It's one of those weird things where to possibly get it, you may want to give up a full second to 2 seconds to try and save the 1 to 2 seconds it can save. So it's a very interesting point.
It's very odd.
So here we go, moving forward into the Lion's Den. This is a chapter that has a few different parts of it that are challenging to work with. Specifically, well, there was a very interesting skip that you will see later on, which is called chloroform skip. And also, more notably, the efficiency of how you shoot during the boss, Mecha Drone, will be 2 highlights of this level. Are there any mechanics on this one, Glenn, that you want to bring up specifically?
Not particularly. I think one of my favorite little details that I take full advantage of is the way that the elevators work, and you'll see me open the elevator door, and then I will move in the direction of the button that I will be punching to trigger. And it's just, save a little bit of path walking.
There's a lot of small little optimizations, like Great Door, keeping it open because you don't reload, things like that. But this is also one of the places where you'll be working to get more experience. The one that you got was the healing upgrade that increases the speed at which you use bandages and first aid kits, which specifically makes it possible for you to do other things.
Indeed.
Later on for timing specifically. Also, I noticed that you're going for the hearts in these secrets. You will be acquiring how many? 6? 5?
I'm gonna go for 6.
Okay. Marathon safety, I assume?
Yep. I think you can get away with 5, but...
You are doing this specifically for a skip in the last level of the game. You want a high enough amount of
Chapter
hit points
9.
so that you can take it through.
Chapter 9.
So,
we're not doing that one in Chapter 10 anymore.
So the door you just ran through will stay open if you do not take too much damage and you do not load. So it's one of those little time saves where if he has a good run, doesn't get hit or anything like that, it can make things a lot easier. If he does get hit, he will bleed and have to load to refresh his hit points. We'll be able to see the benefits of that. And welcome to Mecha Drone, the point where learning how to shoot efficiently speeds up the game's speed.
I got greedy for bullets. There we go.
Ooh, yeah, not optimal setup. So this is actually an interesting point from a developer standpoint where you can use certain mechanics to change the dynamics of a boss. I'm going to talk about that. In this point, you saw him take him down for 2 of those, but in a typical hard playthrough, you can drop enough of those containers to cover almost the entire thing. So it's about efficiently finding a way of kind of Tetrising the ground. So now, I'm glad that you got your suit and not forgot it this run. Hey, Jesse, how do you make chloroform?
Chemistry's pretty easy. You just need to mix the right chemicals together. In this case, chloro and form.
Oh, okay.
That's how I
Now
remember
you
it
have
in high school.
Yeah.
Yes, basic stuff, really.
Yeah, it's kind of like mixing what? Sodium and water? That's another good idea.
Oh,
Spoiler alert,
always.
don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Sorry. It's a joke.
I mean, do it in the game.
He has a point. Do it in the game.
No. All right. Hey, Jesse, my spider senses are tingling. Is something cool happening out there?
Well, I've heard that we might actually be having a line coming in.
Oh.
Oh, okay. So someone has decided to donate to the awesome cause, and you'll be saying something in response to that?
That sounds like a fair trade.
Oh, let's go with it.
Jesse Fox is nice and charitable. Trying to see where the chat box is.
No problem. And while you're doing it, this is about using a thermal suit to avoid heat sensors and gathering a bunch of batteries while trying to avoid those heat sensors. If Glenn manages to accidentally trigger one, please, lots of lulls in chat.
I will cry if I even do that.
That's
Okay.
such a time loss.
It's funny.
Okay, there's the line. Colonel, this run is so bonkers. Glenn is so sugoi.
Oh, here we go. This is gonna be fun time if we get more of those.
This is gonna be the best. I hope, because there. Oh, look, that's how lasers turn on. But that's just everyone is going to go top tier. Please, honestly, donate for the great cause and appreciate the fact that Glenn just used chloroform to skip an entire floor and warp about 2 minutes into the future. We'll explain that in just a moment. Now, there's a character in here who is actually the third character. That's one of the other main people that you talk to constantly, called the Doctor. And the Doctor was actually voiced by an online friend of ours, which we reference as Mir-Shalin. And Mir-Shalin was actually the voice of the protagonist, Ghost, of our previous game, Ghost 1.0. Anyway, what do you think about our friend Marcuson here, Glenn?
He's going the wrong direction. There we go. He's a coward. He runs away. He tries to make things a little difficult.
Yep. Small note, those lasers, instant kill.
Yep.
So...
I've hit enough of those.
Now he's just used a Molotov on the guy.
Yep.
I didn't have another handkerchief. I do still have the bottle,
Now,
though.
what you're doing is you're bringing them to the end so that we can move on ahead. And this goes into an interesting commentary and a story about minefields.
Oh boy, I missed the minefield craziness.
So, when this game
Just as
came
long
out...
as I miss the minefield, I think we'll be all right.
Good call. When this game came out, one of the things that we as Fran intended as a developer is he wanted it so that we needed you to go to the right, go through an entire maze, walk through and get an item called a minesweeper so that you could go through a place where there's about 40 to 50 mines on each of those screens that Glenn just casually rolled over. Each of the minefields were also randomly sprawled about, so it had RNG mechanics, and it was dang near impossible to skip. After feedback from the community, feedback from people playing it casually, and such like that, we changed the entire dynamic of how the minefield is generated and such like that. We'll go back to that in a moment. Right now, Glenn is going through what is a game story puzzle where Jesse constantly runs across... What was it, Jesse?
There are so many different bodies in this forest maze. Got lost for what seemed like hours. Or in this case, about, a minute and 15 seconds.
Glenn is able to manipulate the way that the area moves about, so that is fine. That opens up the next puzzle, which you normally have to require a compass that you generate, but Glenn has literally memorized the path. If you go any wrong direction on any of these screens, you're at the beginning of the maze. So he's just going to walk a predetermined route that is always the same, which is different than the minefields, which are generated when you load the game. And so before he even ran today, he loaded up chapter 4, figured out the pattern of the minefield, and figured out a safe walking path with the new way that we determined how the mines work. And he'll be doing this secret to get a heart to continue. There's our wonderful Full Metal Jacket reference as a parody. And Jesse, what do you have to say about the barracks?
Well, barracks was a lot harder to get through for the most part. Constant patrols running around. But, as always, I found a way.
All right. Intentional alert. No, you will not punch me. You're not allowed to punch me. I mean, shoot me. So we're just going to ride this alert all the way to the other side of the map. Uh-oh.
So an unintentional side effect of what they do is normally alerts lock all the doors, but they found that with a specific alert done in a specific way, this entire chapter, which typically takes some people upwards to an hour, is the shortest or one of the shortest missions in the game.
It's about 2.5 minutes, give or take.
One of the interesting things after the initial routes is they found out the power of the bulletproof vest when they started investigating secrets, which allows 50% of the bullets that hit you to be negated. So now we have an RNG situation where a good run can become a great run, can become a magnificent run, based on literally the RNG of did you negate the damage of somebody's shooting.
Very well, Mike.
I really enjoyed getting through that firing squad by walking onto a different screen.
Yeah, that's all you need to do to avoid an entire array of bullets.
All right, so Rolling Thunder for the tank's going to be nice to have. Hey, look, it's Mike again.
Is this early or late for Rolling Thunder? How is your experience?
It's about normal.
About normal? Okay.
Nick likes to try and get it by chapter 4, which I 100% agree with because the mines count as enemies, so you can roll faster and more frequently. But didn't get enough experience, so that's going to happen. So I'm just going to strategically pick cover so that Splash Mike over here will fire his tank off at certain containers, or that truck, for instance.
Each of the containers has
I threw
specific
too many
items.
grenades. Oops. Oh well, this will be fun.
But route-wise, this entire room is set up down to the singular item used.
Yep.
Oh wait, so now you don't have the extra grenade to do the quick hit in the next area, correct?
Yep, I gotta get another one.
You gotta get the backup grenade to the side.
Gotta get the extra grenades.
So slight time loss.
Not that big of a deal. And I'm gonna wait till Jesse's position refits so I know when to press L2, or at least that's it is in my case, and grab myself some stuff.
Jesse, why were you moving so slow?
Do you mean slowly?
I'm just checking. And why are you picking on... Wait, why are you picking on me about the script? I'm the one that literally wrote what you said.
I'm fairly certain this was just my recollection, to a much more important individual.
Okay, I mean, let's just be certain, actually. I'm not the one who wrote it, I'm just the one who copywrote it, but... Yeah. By the way, these people are not named Mike, they're named Leonard. What was your opinion of Leonard?
Well, Leonard's more of an engineering name more than a soldier name. That's why all the soldiers were Mike. Crazy coincidence that they all were, but those guys definitely were more Leonards than Mikes.
Okay. Now, as as I noticed, you're also using your med kits to make sure that Leonard's didn't die. Why?
Well, of course. I'm no assassin. It's not like I'm gonna go around a base that wrongfully imprisoned me and kill everybody. What kind of maniac would do something like that?
Oh, okay. Well, that just makes you a good protagonist.
The best protagonist.
Glenn, if you had a yellow submarine, would you be comfortable enough to live in it?
I think we all would.
Just
I remember it was a pretty cushy ride.
And I've told Fran this himself, I think, this is probably one of my favorite underwater sections that I've ever played. It's one of those, like, I'm like, water level, they're so, in my face and intrusive, and I don't like playing them, but I enjoy playing this one, and it's just short enough for me to be like, I can really appreciate that being there.
One of the interesting parts about this, in the early stages of release, in the first patches, the submarine ride was tweaked quite a bit, the difficulties. You can almost just, because of the momentum at which you hit the walls, you'll notice the HP bar in the top right. If he does actually nick any wall, he will take anywhere from minimal to maximum damage. That's been significantly reduced, especially on easy. But this is one of those where it's more about a precision level than anything. And that, because it's so short in that challenge, that's where I think your opinion's coming up mostly on that one, right, Glenn?
Yeah, if I remember right, when I played through this originally, it was on medium. And I do believe my exact words were, "Why does this submarine feel like it's made of wet paper?"
Yes, that is exactly what you said. I know that because I added notes of that and had to bring it up into a meeting talking about patch recommendations. Wet paper submarine.
No! This is Hugh the Unagi. Oh, he will only go out as far as I will. And we are going to try and beat him in the most minimum number of torpedoes as possible, which is 6. And he's dead. And now he has band-aids.
Boss defeated.
Interesting note is if you manage to beat him but die afterwards but before ending the chapter, there used to be a bug that if you were waiting on his screen, he would just start wiggling upside down along the top or right side up along the top. And it was so confusing for people because it's like, why is Huge Heal up there? And we had to fix that bug, but it was one of my favorite bugs in the game. The fact is, Glenn just laughed to the point of tears the first time he saw it.
It's true.
That said, what do you think about $10 million, friends?
What's it worth now
That's a
again?
lot of money.
I mean, it's
still worth $10 million.
I mean, it is, but the question is, would you rather have 10 million in-game dollars or a $5 donation to a good cause?
Okay.
Well, I mean,
We could.
that $10 million was essentially a donation anyway. I'm not sure why $5 would be so difficult.
Oh, okay. Well, that's just my 2 cents. I would personally pick the $5 donation. So from this point forward, I will donate $5 for every time Glenn dies to a maximum of, I need to verify what's acceptable. This is inspired out of nowhere. It will, so, Glenn, don't die.
I was gonna say, do you think I'm gonna die?
I hope not, but if you don't die, then I'll still give a good amount. We'll find out how much it is.
Oh god, there's a nuclear sub.
I believe that's everyone's favorite boss.
All right. Welcome to the nuclear sub. There's not much to say about this one in particular, other than it's a straightforward fight that deals with cycles.
Clay, what did you do now? Why did you lose SS4C another 7 hours?
I'm sorry.
Boss defeated.
Oh, I love this rift.
Constantly.
Every time you beat a boss. Is that just what went through your head, Jesse, when you beat a boss? Good. Jack,
That's never
$5.
happened before.
That's how you're gonna show off my
I
story.
have never died
Dying
like
there.
that. Not to me.
I don't know. Maybe I'm prophetic. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
There are two different
Black Thunder.
ways
There's
to
a
go into this.
helicopter.
He's choosing the one that has the machine gun.
He doesn't seem very maneuverable.
Do you have? I didn't see. Did you get the bullet upgrade already? All right. At the next level, you would be able to get a damage increase to all bullets, which
No,
does
no, I'm
affect
only
this
level 5.
boat and this boss, which would speed that up a little bit. But instead, you hear a guitar.
Music to my ears. I mean, kind of literally.
We didn't just beat him up for his bolt cutters,
Oh, never.
right, Jesse?
Highway robbery was kind of on the other end. I'm no highway robber.
So, one of the interesting mechanics that was found by a runner recently is that if all of these cycles of these cameras are on a specific set rotation. And if you load the game right at a specific time before you come on in, all of them are in just perfect way where you can just
I love these
walk
camera cycles.
around and everything just seems to almost align as pure destiny for you. Saving a lot of time, but I would dare say it's not only the time, it's just way more fun. Because waiting in a speed run does not feel fun. What are your thoughts on that one, Glenn? As I understand, it was one of those
I
he
need
was
to ask
testing
Nick
what
stories
ran the
how he came up
cycles,
with that.
and this allowed him to get a general feel about it and try out ideas, and it turned out to just work out because this was the least fun level to run in the entire game for him. And it led into that. That's at least how I understood the story. And that, I believe, is your last heart, correct? So,
yes, I believe so.
Is there any other dynamic or
Yes, it
anything
is.
that we need to talk about on this level, or can I just kind of go off on a random tangent outside of it? So at
You go
the end of
nuts.
every level, and this
We're
is more
just-
about the way that the timing works for this, you'll notice that there's a list of times that have little symbols and such like that. The in-game timer was created specifically from feedback from the speedrunning community, and we built it to the specs that they all requested. So the in-game timer is actually how we track the time and the records on this. So another example of things that we added are the scopes of the cameras. The visibility of it was added on easy for two reasons. Number one, to make it easier for people who are enjoying the game on easy, and also speedrunners. So at the end of stage complete, you'll see some times pop up, and those are all the time settings and such that we put in specifically because of speedrunners like you.
Now, the other option that I see in UnMetal, but almost no other game, is the fact that whenever you skip one of the dialogue lines, there's an actual button that you have to hold, and for speedrunners specifically, there is an actual adjusting, like, for the timing that it takes to do that. So it can either be nigh instant, or, you know, you can hold it in for a while. And I thought that was possibly one of the greatest ideas for at least dialogue skips that I've seen in a game in a long time, if ever. Such a small thing, but every now and then, whenever you get the chance to skip, sometimes it is annoying to have to sit there for 5 seconds. Are you sure?
One of the things that's funny, and this mission, by the way, he is just going to speed up to the 2nd floor. And we'll touch on that when it happens. Right now, he's just dodging some wonderful Scandinavian guards.
All right. Now we get to do telling the story in a summarized fashion because, you know, we've been here for hours telling this story. And now we get to do Red Room Skip. I'll let y'all go on a tangent about that one.
This is one of the big skips of the game that everybody wanted to do. Again, you go left on this path to get an anti-rad suit. If you get enough hit points and you use a specific thing...
I am dead. Yep. Shoot.
$10 to a good cause.
That's okay. I just get to do this again. Oh, well. As soon as I went back and went, oh, wait, that spider's not in a great place. At least the grenades were changed so that they last 5 seconds now, and they do not hurt Jesse anymore.
I'm just putting that in chat for you because I will be doing it later. I'm kind of busy commentating right now, Jesse. Ooh, 15.
Game is not letting me do what
Jesse,
I want to do.
Hey, Jesse, can you read the thing I put in chat, please, for my upcoming donation?
Of course, Mr. LaFear. I can't believe it's not butter. Spray.
Oh.
Now with a silky smooth feel.
Someone was commenting on that before the actual run, so I was like, yeah, I'm going with that.
This RNG is not kind to me. Oh, that's better.
This little bit of a delay. As you can see, this is part of the reason why this skip was challenging.
I got destroyed. I got destroyed by that spider in the 2nd room. Oh, man.
I'm sleeping on the couch tonight.
Oh,
nah, it's okay. That's 5, right? 4? Oh, it's
That's
okay.
4.
It's going to be 5 soon, I speculate.
4.
No, this is the run.
This is the run, Jesse. Okay, you going from your memory here?
Of course.
That's 5.
It's not a flawless memory.
Just triple checking things.
All right. So, going back on the comment on that was provided earlier, when working with Fran and talking about ways to improve the skipping of dialogues and such, implementing it so you can hold the button down beforehand was nice, and I was like, they really just want to make it faster, so I suggested like 2 or 3 options for fast or instant or something.
Jesus. This spider is out for my blood today.
Chad, Glenn needs your energy. Can you please help out with that?
That would be great.
But,
it's possible they could be out for the blood and the panic.
Yeah, so Fran just decided to add 8 different levels, because worst comes to worst, people can figure out what they want from there.
What the? These spiders can see. That's nice.
In every direction.
It's true. All of it.
Now, going in on this one.
There we go. And the spider is fine. to worry about him. We're good. We've made it! Yay!
Congrats.
Just like that.
And by the way, that's how you easily do red room
There we
skip.
go. Easily.
I noticed that you used a potty there for your insta save or your save state. Is that correct? Well, I was about
What's
to
a potty?
say, Jesse, what was the reason you were running around with porta potties?
Well, it was a long escape. I mean, maybe not in this instance, but in most cases, it was a long escape. Eventually, I had to use the bathroom. But I'm no pig, so I made sure to put it in its proper place. Portable potty.
Oh, okay. Did you decide that it was a good idea to use portable potties in literally the middle of a scientific hallway?
Of course. There wasn't a restroom around,
You okay? Wake up,
so
Mike.
I had to do it right then and there.
There was a restroom right before the red room.
I think you're remembering things wrong, Jack. I was there.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. So with floor 2
Okay.
done, now we get to the hard part, which is good. This is a floor that we will be revisiting later, 3rd floor, and going up the 4th floor instead. At this point, you're just going to be doing what seems to be a small little puzzle of sorts to gather up the items necessary for an anti-air defense system that would normally shoot down a helicopter that you would normally have to escape in. Jesse, how did you feel about using your gun to blow away a duck in one hit?
Pretty masculine. I mean, I imagine the duct wasn't very well put together if one bullet took it out. But you gotta admit, being able to destroy an entire duct with a pistol bullet seems like something that really shouldn't happen. So when it does, a mixture of, well, surprise, excitement, and delight.
One of these days, I was thinking if I was ever commentating on this, I would just start saying random colors while you were doing that puzzle, by the way. I didn't, but that would be amazing. Do you think it would confuse you at all, Glenn?
If I were thinking about colors.
You're thinking about slot 1, 2, and 3. Is that the strategy? Gotcha.
Yep, because they don't
So in other
change.
words, random numbers.
I
If
figure
that.
if you really want to screw with them, it's just directional inputs.
There you go.
So, these third
Andrew's
floor
now chosen violence.
guards have a less hit points, so they get knocked out right away. But instead of the 90-degree cone view that they had before, they have a 180-degree view. This doesn't matter too much in the easy percent run, mostly because if you alert, the first thing you do is you just keep going. Why did you get the achievement there? You've never gotten that achievement before?
I don't know. Apparently not.
That's knocked 10 guards out with a... You've never gotten that achievement before, and you've run this game for how many hours? That is like the basic default achievement.
Yes.
He's just
And
that
Takuma's
good.
dead.
Boss the
We're so good, we're getting achievements now. And that was Takuma. He's dead now.
You know, it's really interesting to see how casual that fight is. That's one of the ones that I think all of you enjoyed quite a bit more than most, because the tech required to get them done fast was a lot of fun for all of you to figure out. What is so for the rest of the scenario, it really is just find an item and go through a maze that you've memorized again. Glenn, are there
Correct.
any, since we are approaching near to the end of the run here soon and approaching the final thing, any shout outs or any general thoughts to people who have done work on this run that you want to talk about? Specifically for like strategies or interesting tactics or anything?
So there's a lot of information that mostly Nick RP Green has dumped onto the wiki that's on MetalGearSpeedrunners.com. And both of us are also in that Discord, available to help pretty much anyone out who would even want to ask questions about this game. Jack is also in there. And now we've entered the maze, so this is going to be interesting. It's dark.
Oh, by the way,
And green.
I'm watching the stream instead of it in real time. That was my very little claim to fame of being thrown into a voice acting role, because that's what happens. What did you think about this this run the first time, Glenn?
It's gotten a lot better as far as easy's been concerned. I think one of our biggest complaints that we've brought to you at the time was it doesn't feel balanced between hard, normal, and easy. And this was one of those areas where it was like, I don't know if this feels balanced or not.
When you're...
But, you know, the arrows were added, and it's like, oh, okay, this feels way better.
Fran enjoys challenging games, and this was built with hard first and brought back to easy. So you guys were valid on that. Jesse, what did you think about when all these ghosts went in and started possessing you?
I don't think they could possess the iron will of Jesse Fox. Try as they might. I mean, they did some damage when they got close, but as everybody knows, fortunately I had the ghost's one weakness: bullets.
Thank you, Jesse. That was important. So, as we go in and touch a wall that smells like turkey, moving into the final chapter, stage 10. Glenn, do you have any comments on what to expect coming ahead or about this? Because the mechanics on this one feel more like practiced skill. Maybe the death run is another thing to comment on.
So we used to do this thing that we'd call the death run specifically, which was what most of the hearts used to be intended for, as well as red room skip. Nick went back and timed all it took to get all of the hearts, which I think at the time we were getting 6 all of the time. Now you can get away with 5. And he said the death march does not give you all your time back. It's not worth doing. So we don't do it anymore. On perfect or unperfect, you may do it because you're getting all the secrets anyway.
No, something interrupted him.
Jesse, did you ever find out if the general believed in God? That sucks. That's what the C4 is for. And by the way, you may have noticed we had to do some math. Don't be scared of math. It created part of our escape here.
I mean,
how else are you gonna make C4 unless you don't have 4 C1s?
Agreed. Jesse, is math the true, real end boss of your experience?
Oh no, math is fine, for the most part.
Okay.
I think people overcomplicate math sometimes, though.
How so?
Well, somebody tried to teach me some math called algebra, and I didn't get it. They tried to add letters together. Didn't make any sense. I had the guy committed.
Well, I don't know how to follow up this conversation on math, so, No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Glenn, now that you're loading up on the final things and getting ready to fight... Oh, by the way, the end boss's name is General X. What do you have for any comments specifically?
We have this book.
Well, go ahead and describe. Since we're behind, you tell what you see.
So it says, "Hi, this is Unepic Fran. Welcome to the digital mini art book of UnMetal." And it's going to go through a lot of early dev stuff, if I remember right, Jack? Port of an MSX game, Look at what? Look, there's the sun.
There,
the sun.
there was
I
a comment
remember
that.
that.
Fran went out on Twitter and said, "Hey, what would you like to see for something special?" And someone said it'd be really cool to have like a commentary or history of pictures from its development. So this is literally because one random person suggested this idea on Twitter. So shout outs to the community on that one.
Say what you will about Twitter, it does have a good side. Now we get to do the final boss, General X, and his
When is
drones. We're gonna convince the
Okay,
colonel
so
for
when
time.
you are standing in a small room and you convince the colonel upon hit, or
Yes.
that is time. We'll give a warning. Okay,
On hit,
got it.
yeah.
So there's 3 phases to this fight. The first phase is just destroying all of the flying things. The second one is perma stunning and fighting a giant mecha tank, and the third is overwhelming a Bond-esque villain named General X. Which there are many small little techniques that they're doing to optimize this fight. There's almost there's 2 cycle. There's a way to get it 1 cycle, but they skip cutscenes and such based on items and not having first aid kits. I'll be quiet so you can call time.
So that would be time for the IGT at 49:05, which is okay.
Colonel Harris and I went to the helicopter.
So now we get into the helicopter, and time is in 3, 2, 1.
The next thing I remember was waking up,
GG.
hanging from the parachute tangled to a tree.
Congratulations.
GG. Well, Glenn, I'm just going to say thank you for inviting us to be your commentary, and sincerely, I'll be throwing the donation here in a moment. Glenn, what do you have to say?
Thank you for joining me, guys. Normally Nick is my go-to, but he is predisposed, and Novus actually happened to jump into one of my streams one day and just started talking. I was like, hey, I got a question for you real quick, and
Where
here
can
we
people, if they want to learn more about the
Yeah.
game or the run, where can they find it?
So, like I said, you can find all of the information that Nick has dumped about the speedrun on MetalGearSpeedrunners.com. This game was unformally adopted or formally adopted by the MGSR community, and a lot of y'all have just gone all out in there. And I know, Jack, you're still hanging around in there, talking to people every once in a blue moon, keeping an eye on that UnMetal
Definitely.
channel, you know, all the fun stuff. And Nick and I are always available to help teach the speedrun and answer questions about it, so I know Jack's kind of leaning towards unperfect
Oh, no, not
speedruns.
anymore. That said, our next... Not
anymore.
Working on the next game. But we do have a patch
there you
coming
go.
down the pipeline that will solidify a different difficulty of unperfect.
No, it was
Jesse
just great to be
Andrew,
here.
you have any final thoughts?
Happy for whenever the next one is.
All right. Glenn, this is your awkward moment to do the awkward farewell, friend.
Yeah, that's UnMetal.